The term business paperwork covers a variety of items that you'll encounter during a typical month in your business. Paperwork would include all your bank statements, your invoices, and all your slips and receipts from your daily cash purchases and sales. We often imagine that there has to be some fancy procedure for bringing order into our business, but that is not true. Setting up simple, uncomplicated systems are in fact the key to ensuring that the procedure becomes a way of life in your business and not just a good idea that does not get carried through. In the previous module, we looked at an example of a simple system using inexpensive tools, and so let's look at how we use them. Remember that you can tailor these to meet your specific needs. Before we move on to the simple procedure to manage your paperwork, let us revisit what we have called the entrepreneur's reality. Many entrepreneurs dream of having a thriving business. It takes courage to step out and start a small business because it can be a lonely road with many challenges. Managing your cash flow is often the biggest challenge which can overwhelm an entrepreneur. You have probably found yourself juggling money between your personal bank accounts and credit cards and your business bank accounts and cards. There are times when you have money in your personal account but none in your business account. If you do need to make a purchase for your business in these circumstances, you may have no choice but to use your personal money. This is completely normal and often necessary for a small business's survival in the early stages. The important thing is to keep the slips or records of these transactions. It's also important that you start to think of yourself and your business as two completely separate legal entities.
Well, we're really pleased that you're happy and we can move forward with the work.
Thank you very much. Let me get this.
No, we'll get this. Thanks. You said you had to run.
Thanks. I'll see you next week. Please don't forget to send that final contract through.
Yes. Okay. Cheers. I'm really glad she had to leave, actually, because I don't know if we've got enough money in our business check account to cover this.
We do have that one payment coming through. Let's see what happens.
So I'm sorry, unfortunately it's declined. Would you like to try it again?
No, it's fine. Try my personal credit card. Thanks.
Thank you, so it went through. Just sign for me there, please.
You've been using your personal credit card a lot the last few weeks for business.
Yeah.
I hope you're keeping the slips so we can sort this out when we get some money in.
You know, to be honest, the paperwork side of the business is a lot more scary than the sales. I was just thinking yesterday, we need to get some kind of easy system in place.
Let's make sure we understand the difference between business money and owner's money. What is business money? This is made up of both business cash and money in your business's bank accounts and credit cards. Business cash is the money belonging to the business that is used for its day-to-day running. It could have been drawn out of the business's bank account, or it may be cash received from a client, for example. What then is owner's money? Owner's money is money that belongs to the owner personally. Remember that the owner and his business are two separate legal entities. Personal money belonging to the owner does not belong to the business, even if he is the only owner. Owner's money would include his personal cash and the money in any bank accounts and credit cards that he has in his name. To help you understand this important concept, imagine your business as a friend or family member. There are certain guidelines that would ensure that you protect these relationships when you lend or borrow money, such as keeping a written record of repayments. In the same way, when you lend money to your business or when your business lends money to you, then you need to keep detailed notes. Accountants call these notes a loan account, but an easier term is owner's money. Now that we understand that concept, let's move on to the day-to-day procedures of good record keeping. A good place to start is looking at what slips you need to keep. It's important to keep slips relating to all business purchases, regardless of whether it's paid for with the owner's personal money or the business money. Slips are important items to keep. If you use business cash to buy an item, but cannot prove it's for the business because you haven't kept the slip, then the assumption will be that you used the money for a personal purchase. Slips you don't need to keep would be personal purchases you made with your personal money. As you go about your business on a daily basis, we recommend that you implement some simple procedures to make the record-keeping process a lot easier at month end. When it comes to purchases, it's helpful to mark your slips with an easy reference. You need to write something on the slip that will help you remember how you paid for when you're doing your admin at the end of the month. If you used cash from the business, you can write business cash or BC. If you used your own money to pay for something for the business, you can write owner's money or OM, so you'll know that this money is owed to you. During the month, you'll need to pay your suppliers who you owe, and because the invoice was already filed in the invoice sorter, you can easily find it and make the payment. Don't forget to mark how you paid for it and when it was paid. Once it has been paid, put it into your office slips and invoice container. When it comes to making sales, we recommend making a copy of the invoice to keep. If the client has already paid, mark it as paid with the date and payment method, for example, cash or credit card. If the client has paid you in cash, you'll need to issue them with a receipt. You can use your duplicate book for this. If the client has already paid you, put the copy of the sales invoice into your office slips and invoice container for filing. The key to the success of any system, whether manual or electronic, is proper preparation. Decide on a day that is quiet and convenient for you to do your month-end admin. If you've kept up to date with the recommended steps we've spoken about, your month-end admin should not be overwhelming. If not, don't be discouraged. It'll take a little time, but you'll feel much better afterwards for getting it done. Firstly, you should take all the slips and invoices out of the office slips and invoice container. Because you've referenced the slips, it'll be a very straightforward process to sort them into various piles depending on how you paid for them. If you've not referenced them, you can do it now. So you should have a pile for owner's money slips, one for business cash slips, one for things you'll see on your bank statement, and another pile for those things that you'll find on your credit card statement. If you have more than one bank account, make a pile for each bank account. In order to speed up the capturing and filing process, arrange each pile of slips into date order. If you're using the SM Easy system, you're now ready to begin the easy task of entering these slips. The majority of your business transactions will take place through your bank accounts. They'll tell you a lot about where and how your money was spent. It's a good idea to capture this information from the bank statement monthly so that your financial reporting is delivered on time. In order to do this, you would firstly print a copy of your bank statement from your internet banking site. While you're busy with this, download an electronic copy of the bank statement because this will be imported into the SM Easy system. It's important to record why you made the transactions in your business, as this will have an impact on the accuracy of your financial reporting later. You're now ready to categorize each transaction on the bank statement. It's important that the names you give to each transaction accurately represent its purpose. You should also select the same name when categorizing similar transactions. In other words, if you spend money on pens and envelopes, it's called stationery. If you spend money on milk, tea, toilet paper, this benefits your staff, and so you can call it staff welfare. Select the pile of slips that relates to your bank statement. Starting with the first line item on the bank statement, find the matching slip or invoice. If you don't have a simple electronic system, you'll have to write each category next to the line item on your bank statement so that your accountant or bookkeeper understands them. If you're using SM Easy, make your selection of the category from the Easy drop-down list on the system. When you're working through your bank statements, you'll encounter a wide variety of situations. Where you pick up that a slip or invoice was paid for with business money, but it's actually for the owner personally, then the line item should be categorized as owner's money. Remember that you'll also have income items on your bank statement. Find the corresponding customer invoice. On the bank statement, that line item should be categorized using that invoice number. For further information when using the SM Easy system, refer to the SM Easy training. Sometimes you'll have one slip for a shop where you bought items that fall into different categories. For example, you went to one shop and bought milk, tea, and coffee for the office, and you also bought paper and other stationery items. All this would be on the same slip that you received at the shop when you paid with your debit card. So on your bank statement, you would see one entry for the total amount spent at that shop. The milk, tea, and coffee is for staff welfare, and the paper and stationery is for stationery. If you're using the SM Easy system, you can do this very easily using the split function. If you're doing it manually, then write both categories and their respective amounts next to the line item. When there are no more entries on the bank statement, you're finished with the allocations. If you're using the SM Easy system, then you can now print the bank statement saved report. Attach this report and all the slips and invoices to the copy of the bank statement and then file them in your financial documents file. If you have another bank account, for example, your business credit card, then import the statement for the bank account and repeat the same process. So once you've completed that, what if there are no more slips, but you still have entries on the bank statement? Don't panic. There'll be some entries on the bank statement for which you will not receive slips. The common ones are bank charges, debit orders, and ATM withdrawals. Even though you might not have slips for these, you must still give each line item a name explaining what it's for. Where there are debit orders set to come off the account monthly, you'll need to work out what the debit order was for. ATM withdrawals are made so that the business has cash for the small daily purchases that crop up. Unless this withdrawal is for you personally, mark the line item as business cash. If it was for you personally, then it must be marked as owner's money. You may also have the situation where there are still some slips remaining, but no more entries on the bank statement. Again, there'll be good reason for this, so don't throw them away. The slip could have been placed in the wrong pile. Double check, perhaps it belongs in a different pile. Another reason is that the slip is for a date that falls outside of the date range on the bank statement you're working with. Let's move on to business cash now. Select your pile of slips that belong to business cash and apply the same categorizing rules as you did for bank statements. If you're using the SM Easy system, this will be captured in the business cash section. Once you've completed this, print your business cash report and attach these slips and invoices to it. File them in the financial documents file. Finally, we have to record your owner's money purchases. These slips and invoices are for items you bought for the business, but they were paid for by you using your personal money, or things you bought for yourself and paid for with business money. Just as you did for business cash, select the pile of slips that belongs to owner's money and apply the same categorizing rules. If you're using the SMEasy system, this will be captured in the owner's money section. Once you have completed this, print your owner's money report and attach these slips and invoices to it. File them in the Financial Documents file. You should now understand why it's important to separate business money from owner's money and feel confident in carrying out good record-keeping procedures. It's these procedures that create the foundation from which your financial statements are compiled. Understanding your financial statements is made easier by the fact that you are more familiar with these records.